I'm going to show you how to make sure your MPC sample is up to date with the latest firmware. First thing you want to do is go to Google, type in MPC sample update. There's going to be a link there. It's going to take you to the official Akai website. You pretty much have to plug in your MPC sample and then click on that link. It says MPC sample local or something like that. It's going to take you to this page. Once you're on this page, it's going to see if your MPC needs to be updated. If it does, you click update now. After you click it, there's going to be some stuff going on your MPC sample screen. It's pretty much updating the firmware. I'm not sure exactly what this did, but just make sure you keep your MPC up to date. So one cool thing that you can do with the MPC sample is you can connect it with your USB-C cable to your computer and then sample any audio coming out of your computer. So you connect the cable, you go into your settings, you go to sound, and then you pick MPC sample for the inputs and outputs, right? So now when you hit sample, all right, we're gonna sample to this pad. It's gonna say waiting for signal, and now I'm using TrackLib for the sample, so. Right? All right, now we just gotta chop the sample. We hit chop. I'm going to show you how to start a new beat from scratch on the Akai MPC sample. First, you got to turn it on. You hold shift, you hit pad 16, which is project. You go down using this encoder to new project, you click it. Now it's going to say clear everything. So it's pretty much erasing all of the sounds on the pads and whatever sequences you have. You hit yes, and now you have a blank slate, okay? I use the tap tempo, so you can tap it, right? Or you can hold it and move it around. So if you want to adjust this left number, you just hold it. If you want to adjust the number on the right, you click the button and you adjust this number. Now you hit select sample, and you can use the internal sounds, or you click this button and you can use the sounds that are on your SD card if you have one. Let's go to the SD card. If you want to load another sound, you just click another pad, an empty pad, and then go to another sound. You need some kicks, get some hi-hats. Let's get a trap snare. You always need a trap snare just in case. I like that one. Let's go to my drum broker packs. Now I want all these pads to cut each other off, so I'm going to set the mute group on each individual pad to the same mute group. So I'm going to do number 1. And now that you got your beat, you just got to save it. So shift, project, save. You just name your project. I like to go by numbers. So this is my 4th beat. I move over with this plus knob, but it reminds me of the old MPCs, because the old MPCs, oh, you could just go to the front and just erase. Okay, all right. Saving your project, and bam, you're saved. I'm going to show you how to track out your beats from your MPC sample into your DAW. So as of right now, you can't export trackouts directly out of the MPC sample. So you got to do it the old school way, one by one, right? So I'm going to mute every sound and record each individual pad into Ableton, okay? In Ableton, we have our USB connected, and we're going to set up our input for 1 and 2, right? So now Ableton is listening to the Akai sample. We hit record on Ableton. All right, now that we have all of our sounds inside of Ableton, we can do our sequencing, we can do our, arranging, and kind of take your productions to the next level and actually finish your beat, right? So another cool thing you can do on the MPC sample is you can sync up the sample with Ableton Live. So when you press play on here, it'll actually trigger your project over here. So first thing you want to do is hold shift and hit pad 8, which is the MIDI configuration. And you go down to MIDI sync out, right? And turn this to MIDI clock, right? So you have your USB-C plugged in, right? Now you head over to Ableton, you open up the settings, you go to the MIDI settings, and right here under MIDI inputs, you click sync. You close that. Now this little box is gonna pop up. Now, whenever you hit play on here, it's gonna play over here, right? So now we can record the audio coming out of here directly into Ableton through that USB-C cable. and it's always going to be lined up perfectly. So we hit record in Ableton, we arm the track, and then we hit play on our MPC sample. So the easiest way to get your track outs out of the MPC sample, you're going to be utilizing this feature right here. It's called resampling, okay? You're going to be resampling one sound at a time, okay? So we're going to click mute, and we're going to resample every sound one by one. So here we have the melody on this pad. Everything is muted except this one sound, okay, which is the melody. We're going to go ahead and hold down shift and press pad 11, which is resample. And then it's going to ask you to click an empty pad on your MPC. So let's do this one. This is an empty pad. So what it's doing is it's recording the whole sequence of that one sound into that one pad, right? So now when we press on that pad, this is our melody, right? This is our melody, okay? Here's our snare drum. Here's our kick track. Here's our hi-hat track, so on and so forth, right? So you have to resample every individual sound within the MPC sample. You're going to save your project, shift project, save. Now we're going to go down to SD card access, and your SD card should pop up on your computer now, right? So you have to find the folder where you saved that project. It was under number 7. And here are all of your sounds, including the resampled trackouts, right? So you want to copy these onto your computer or onto your cloud drive. That's usually what I do. We're going to drag these into Ableton, right? And there's all your trackouts, okay? All you got to do is match up the BPM. In this case, my BPM was 198. So we go into Ableton. We set it to 198. Now, when you're done copying all your trackouts out of your SD card, make sure you eject it properly. You don't want to corrupt any files in there. Now that you ejected it, you go back to your MPC sample, you hit exit. That's the easiest way to get your trackouts into your computer. Now, if you're having issues when you put this in SD access mode and it doesn't pop up on your computer, save your project and restart your MPC sample. I don't know if this is a bug or what, but sometimes it doesn't pop up when you go to SD card access. I'm going to show you how to turn your metronome volume up on the MPC sample. You press sequence, you hold shift, and you see right here it says metronome volume. You just turn that all the way up, because I noticed it was a little low while I was recording. So also, if you're recording a beat and you need a pre-count in metronome, you hold shift and you press 4 and you turn the count in on, right? Now it's on. So now when you hit record, you're going to get a count in. Now you start recording, right? And if you want to turn your metronome on and off, you hold shift and you tap metro. Off, on, off, on. Or if you want it on only while you're recording, you hit it to record. But if you want it on all the time, you set it to on. So one thing I really like about the MPC sample are these knob effects, right? So it's pretty much a multi-effects unit that you can apply to any individual pad or all of the pads if you want. But in this case, I'm going to apply it only to the drums. I'm going to select the soft clipper just to kind of add some more punch to the drums. First thing you want to do is go to your pad bank where your drums are, right? You hold down pad bank. My drums are on B. You'll notice while the knob effects are engaged, these lights will turn on when you hit the pads. That means you're engaging the effect on each individual pad that you want, right? So I'm going to apply it to all of my drums, right? One thing you want to keep in mind when you're using the knob effects is as you raise the drive, you kind of want to control your post levels, right? How loud you're going into your master, right? So you can do that by you hold shift and you have post level right over here. You can also use the mix knob just to kind of fine tune that sweet spot, right? And as far as this shape, I like the sine wave shape because it kind of has that like FL Clipper kind of vibe. Another thing, if you're in any menu here and you see this little arrow, that means you can hold down shift and there's more that you can mess with. Now, what I would do, I just want to apply soft clipping to the kick and the snare. So I'm going to engage only the kick and the snare, or I'm going to engage the kick first, right? And we're going to mute everything except the kick drum. Now, I'm going to resample that kick drum with the soft clipper effect on it. Okay, so I hit shift, resample, and I'll select an empty pad. So now what it's doing is it's printing that kick drum sequence with that effect printed onto it. And now we're gonna do the same thing with the snare. So now we have our new drum pattern with the kick and the snare soft clipped. So you can do that with any sound. You get the idea. I'm gonna show you the easiest way to chop samples on the MPC Sample. I'm gonna load up my sample, then I'm gonna hit chop. You can do like an auto chop, but I prefer to do the manual chop. It's probably the easiest, fastest way to do it. So you hit this first pad to kind of start the sample, and then every pad you hit after that will apply a chop point. Now, if you want to adjust one of these chop points, you just have to pick the chop. You hold shift and you zoom in, right, first. Let's say I don't like where that sample starts. You just adjust the start point of that individual chop. So you go down all of them and you make sure your start points are right. If you want to erase a chop, you go to the one that you don't like, you hold shift and you hit merge right up here, right? And what it's going to do is it's going to merge that chop to the previous one, pretty much erasing it. Now what I would do, I would hold shift and use this extract feature. And what it does is it will extract any chop that you pick into the next empty pad in your pad bank, right? I'll hit extract on all the chops that I like. Now when we go back to our pad bank B, all of our chops are here. Now, one thing you can't forget to do is to put these in the same mute group so they cut each other off. So you hit this button twice, you go to play, and then you see this mute group in the middle, and you set that to the same mute group, right? So in this case, I'm going to use number 1. So now they're all cutting each other off. I'm going to show you how to copy any pad to anywhere. So this function right here, it says copy. So let's say I want to copy this sound to pad bank B. I want to start working on it on a different pad bank. So I'll hold shift, I'll hold copy, and it's going to say copy A1, which is pad 1, 2, and now you just have to hit an empty pad. I'll go over to pad bank B, I will hit B1. So now we're on pad bank B and we have our sound from pad bank A. I try to keep drums and melodies on separate pad banks. So you can also do this with your sequences. You hit the pad that you want to copy. So I want to copy sequence 1. You hold shift, you hold copy, and you copy it to wherever you want. So I'm going to copy it here, I'm going to copy it here, I'm going to copy it here, and I'm going to copy it here. So you're copying pad 1 to 4 places at the same time. Okay, and you can do this with any sound, with anything. And then you just let go, and it copied everything over. So if you want to get the direct audio out of your MPC directly into the videos you're recording on your phone, you're going to want to get one of these powered USB camera adapters for your type of phone. Me, I have an iPhone. You plug it into power, then you plug in your MPC sample, then you open up your camera app. So now, while you're recording, you're gonna get live audio. So this is dope for like all you finger drummers, you know, all you guys who like to do live performances. This will really step up your social media video quality game, because audio is just as important as the video when it comes to these, you know, these social media videos. So you can also record the microphone from here onto your video audio. You hit sample and then you pick microphone, and now you're gonna hear the microphone in your video audio. So you can play a beat, right? And you should hear me talking through the audio right now. Now the only thing, when you have your microphone on, it's gonna turn off your speaker. So just keep that in mind. You do what you want with that information. Another way that you can get direct audio out of your MPC sample to this video, if you already have an audio interface, you get one of these camera adapters for your phone. You plug it to power, you plug it into the USB adapter, and then you plug this into your phone, right? Now you plug a cable from the audio output of your MPC into the audio input of your interface, and you're gonna get direct audio coming out of your MPC through your interface into your phone. Which means, if you have a good microphone, you can plug it into your USB audio interface and also get that audio into your phone, okay? You do what you want with that information. So this fader knob has a lot of different uses. Mainly, I use it to gain stage, right? To make sure my sounds aren't coming in too hot when they're going into the master. But it actually has a lot of different uses, right? So by default, it's set to volume of each individual pad, which you can see on this white bar right here. So I learned that right at this third bar is like the optimal recording level when you're recording into your DAW or something, right? If you want to access the other functions that this fader can do, you hit Shift, you hit pad 9, which is fader, and it'll bring up this menu. So all of these things can be assigned to this fader. So we have, by default, the pad volume, the pad panning, so if you want to go left and right with your sound, the tuning, if you want to tune your sound up and down, kind of like a SP1200 kind of workflow. You have the pad attack, the decay, you can kind of ramp in that volume. You have a per pad filter, which is really cool. Now the second biggest use of this fader is this last one, kit volume. So you can turn up the volume of your whole kit, right? So let's say you like how your beat sounds, right? It's sounding good. It's just clipping in the red. All you got to do is go down to this kit volume and bring down the volume of the whole kit. Now that is super useful when you're gain staging or when you're recording into your DAW and you just don't want to record too hot, right? Did you know that you can control any DAW with your MPC sample? Today I'm using FL Studio on Windows, right? First thing you want to do is go to your MIDI configuration, right? So Shift pad 8. Go to pad MIDI out and change this to empty. Now go down to MIDI sync out and change this to MIDI clock. Now in FL Studio, go to options, go to MIDI settings. You're going to see MPC sample right here, right? Make sure it's enabled and it's on port 1. The port should match the port on your MPC sample. Now go ahead and open FPC, and what you're going to want to do is route all of these pads to these pads, right? So you're going to click MIDI note right here, and you're going to click map notes for entire bank. Now FPC is waiting for MIDI input, so you're just going to go ahead and hit every pad. And now FPC is linked to the MPC. Now what I would do is save this as a preset. So click this arrow, save channel state as, and just call it MPC sample FPC, right? Now in your browser, when you type in MPC sample, that channel state's gonna come up, and all you wanna do is add it as a favorite, okay? So now there's a little star next to it. You click on your stars tab, and there it is. So whenever you wanna open this up, you just drag this over, and it's gonna be mapped, okay? It's gonna be automatically mapped. And if you're in Ableton, just go ahead, open up a drum rack, load all your sounds in it, and then sequence a beat inside of your MPC sample. You get the idea.